God bless everybody. Wanda Torres here, author of the book Finding It. It's been an amazing week with great response from last week with my sister. I thank you to my sister for helping us out, expressing her battles with no boundaries of her ex-boyfriend and her survival of it, which is great. So thank you. So through these videos, we have been talking about your worth. We've been talking about tips for success and things like that. But now I have gotten a few comments and messages basically discussing, Wanda, that's all pretty good, but, your perspective is a little old-fashioned. And, I do understand that. Nowadays things have changed. Well, let's go over a few statistics of things that have changed through the times. The first set of statistics we're going to go over is divorce rates. In the 1920s, divorce rates were at an average of 1.7%. In the 40s, it went up to 3.4%. In the 60s, it went to 3.2%, so it dropped 2.2%. But in the 80s and the 90s, it rose to 4.7%. And now in the 2000s, early 2000s, it dropped to 3.9. So some of you might be quick, well, Wanda, it's dropping. Yes, it is. The reason why it's dropping is because people don't get married anymore. They just don't. Now they can play house and it's become acceptable. Well, let's go over a few other statistics. Divorce rate has dropped. But an increase of numbers is the increase of children born out of wedlock. In the 60s, it was 8% of children were born out of wedlock. Now in 2014, it has gone up to a whopping 41%. The idea of I can do it all by myself is completely botched, and this is why. Statistics of children born out of wedlock or fatherless homes are 63% more likely to attempt suicide, 90% more likely to become runaways, 85% more likely to have behavioral issues, 71% more likely to be dropouts, 70% more likely to become juvenile delinquents, and 75% more likely to fall into substance abuse. Now, these percentages come from the liveabout.com, and the percentages for the divorce rate comes from the Census Bureau website. Now, the last statistic I'm going to toss out there comes from lifeisbeautiful.org, and this says that teenage girls are 4 times more likely to be pregnant before the age of 20 growing up in a fatherless home. Now, I understand that things happen. I am not knocking that. Sometimes men are stupid. They cheat on you. Toss them to the side anyways, sweetheart. I get it. But can you think of a situation, a relationship that you could have prevented if you had just slowed down? Children are complete blessings, and that's not to knock it down. Children are beautiful, but there is something that men have that we women do not have. And it's hard to say what it is. I don't know what it is. I had a father, I have a father. And I was fortunate enough to always have him around. My parents, they did split for some time. But he was always around. I can remember him being my coach for basketball, softball, track and field. I think the only time he wasn't my coach was when I played field hockey. But he was always around, and it was great. And it's not to say for those you ladies who already have a kid, I'm not saying go out, run, and go find somebody quick. No, contrary. It'll probably be good for you to have like a big brother system, for your son. Let them know, line them up with a man who can teach them that real men love God. Real men respect women. And you don't have to be this disrespectful, cussing all the time. Like, you don't have to be this loud person. You could be just calm, cool, and collected and still be a man just like anybody else. And for the ladies, we crave the emotional connection of a man in most cases. And sometimes we do seek it, eventually to have that connection. But it's good to have some sort of big brother to, look at, or just, I'm gonna knock him out if he messes with you, kind of. It's good to have that. The issue that we run into is that most of the time our perspective is looking at, like, the way Disney or romance movies or novels paint it out to be. It's this love at first sight and love at first kiss. And realistically, if you have a man kissing you, waking you up out of your sleep, you need to call 911 immediately. But all jokes aside, you're not Sleeping Beauty. You are not this fictional character where just it becomes happily ever after. If love was meant to be that way, then, well, Jesus wouldn't have had to die for us. It's really that simple. And then how many times have you thought back in your life to really think of, like, God, what was I thinking hooking up with him? Like, for real, where was my mind? But here's the thing. It is hard to serve God. God tells us that hands down. But when you fall into what God does not want, essentially being sin, you have to realize that sin will always take you further than you plan to go, cost you more than you ever plan to pay, and keep you longer than you ever plan to stay. You have to decide how much you really are worth, what you want to do in life. And have you been being respected in the decisions that you have made? And if not, if you're not going towards your goal, if you're not being respected, if you're not treating yourself or being treated what you are worth as, what do you need to do to make sure that you are? Ladies, I cannot say it enough. You are smart. You are strong. You are valuable. You are drop dead gorgeous. And you are so worth it. Don't sell yourself short. Keep moving forward and know that whatever plans you make, God will make happen. And in your heart, it says that He will grant you the desires of your heart. So if your desire is to have that one man, that one marriage, that one go-to, be patient and let God let things fall into place in due time, so that it will just be the one time. You have one life. One life. Don't waste it on trying to make something happen that it's just not time yet. Know your worth, ladies. And don't fall into these lies. Take your time and let God guide you. God bless you, ladies.